So anyway, hey guys, we want to welcome you back to Covenant Podcast. We have not done one of these in a long time, but we're trying to get back at it because we have some exciting stories to tell. And one of the big differences today is that Ryan's on this side of the camera, and he never is. He usually avoids the talking on the camera unless he just has to do announcements here and there, but never a podcast that I remember.
I mean, season 1,
yeah,
which was 5 years ago.
That was a long time ago. So, and then we have his beautiful wife, Miss Madison. We call her Maddie. But anyway, she's here today. We want to tell their story. So I'm trying to start them off slow, give them some easy questions like for instance, we need to know your whole story. We're going to get to the best part at the end. But how'd y'all meet each other?
Oh, well, I'll let you tell the story. I'll let you tell the story from your perspective.
Oh, yeah. It's probably two perspectives here, right? Yeah.
We met in middle school. We met in 6th grade. Yeah, we were friends for a long time, friends through middle school, friends through high school. And then when we graduated, we got a little bit closer. And then we ended up just happened to go to the same college and dated as soon as we started college. And
asked her out 3 times. Yeah. Was rejected 2 times, and the third time was the charm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we dated through college and got married right after.
Yeah. Dang.
That's the story.
Yeah. I want to know the story about rejecting him twice. Were you doing one of those that well, we're too good of friends. We don't want to run our friendship.
No, I said, I want to focus on school. I want to see.
It was our freshman year.
Oh.
So, she was like, I want to focus on school. And I had just got back from a mission trip in Haiti and got her this bracelet and was like, hey, I want to give you this bracelet. And I was like, you want to go out? Can you be my girlfriend? She's like, no, I got to focus on school. And I was like, okay.
It's like,
yeah.
Oh, my
but then I kind of gave him mixed signals because we kept hanging out. It worked out.
So you really liked him?
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was a mixed signal because y'all got married.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So 4 years of school. I know they were actually living up toward Asheville or somewhere up there. I remember.
Western Carolina, Cullowhee.
Yeah.
Go Cats.
And then you were working. He was actually working some for another church, and I heard all about his brilliance with the media stuff. So everything we've done. How long you been here? 6, 7 years now?
Almost 8.
Almost 8 years.
Yeah, August will be 8.
8 years in August. Yeah. So I had heard about his all of his talent, and I'd seen some stuff that he had done, and nobody here really had, especially Lincoln, nobody had a person that did media stuff. And so I went to our leadership and said, we got to get this guy here. Everybody knows Ryan. He grew up in our church. And so it was an easy sell. And so everything that you've seen in the last 7, 8 years, media-wise, is through his brilliance. I said, you get to come here and start from the ground up. He definitely did because, it was ground up. Take my word for it, it was ground up. And but by God's grace, you were here during COVID, which became a
fun time,
crazy, beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And so Maddie was working for social service work, and so we're like, we'll pray her a job down here this way, and we did that. And
the craziest part of that entire thing was we got married, and before we were deciding that summer, she was working in social services in Cherokee,
right.
And she had a secure job. And so when I declined the offer from the other church in Asheville, and you had called me, and I was like, oh well, maybe we can come here, but that means she has to leave her job. And I was like, we started praying about it and everything, and I was like, okay, I think we need to go. And so she quit her job, and we were, obviously nervous about only having one income and leaving from there and coming back down here. And within 2 weeks you got that other job in Gaston? Yeah.
So
it was like an answered
prayer. It's like God knew, right? Or something,
Yeah.
Wow. So anyway, so fast forward, that's how I got to know Maddie, started getting to know her better, and just them coming to church and getting to know them as a couple and being their pastor, which and I knew Ryan. I can't say I didn't know Ryan when he was growing up, I actually had been to Haiti with his dad and his brother, and knew Ryan. He was like a little kid in the church forever. Aaron was his youth pastor, and But when he came on staff, immediately we clicked. Like we just became like a. Well, I call everybody that's young like my kids. And then when I met Maddie and fell in love with her heart, and then it became the dad that makes sure you're treating your wife right. every time I was him, I said, How's Ryan doing as a husband? And she gave me the thumbs up, or else I'd have to throw him in a headlock or something. But anyway, so fast forward in their story, because we want to get to the best part, the God parts of the story, because it wasn't always easy, and we'll let you tell whatever parts of it you want to tell. But after being married for a while and having 2 incomes, finally bought a house over in Stanley area and decided to start a family, started praying about that, and we were all in on it. And then, so one of y'all can pick up from here, because what I don't want to do is tell your story.
Yeah.
I want you guys to tell it. Go ahead, babe.
I mean, you can just start that. Well, I guess I can start, and then you can just add on, okay?
Yeah.
It was probably like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
We were like, okay, we've had the dogs, and we're like, oh yeah, for a moment
spoiled those dogs too, by the way.
We're like, they're gonna be like, yeah, we don't really want kids right now, blah blah blah. It's a lot of work. And then that entire thing shifted like 4 years ago, and we tried for a really really long time, and for about 3 years, and things just weren't happening, and we were kind of like, what's the issue?
Yeah.
And went and both of us got all the tests and everything, and it turns out that it would be not impossible, because God can do anything, but it would be really, really hard for us to have children.
2 of my siblings are adopted. I don't know if we
One
told
of
you
mine
that.
is.
What?
That's my brother is.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So yeah, 2 of my siblings are adopted, so that's always kind of been on my heart, and I've always very much accepted that families are made that way. So we've always kind of talked about that, and then once we got the test results that weren't great, we thought, okay, well, we'll just start this journey.
Adoption it is.
Yeah.
But I think, let's stop for a second, because that's an interesting part of it, the fact that you have family members that are adopted. You have such a and I'm not saying, because I don't want to speak for everybody out there listening either, what their perspective is on adoption. But adoption was so normal in my family, and I was so grateful for that gift. I told my brother once, and I have to go tell him I'm talking about him on camera. He usually don't mind, but I told my brother that once that my little brother and myself, we had to be brothers, but that God had handpicked him and brought him and put him in our family as my older brother. And so there's a side note, a warning for you to be careful on this. My mom was told that she wouldn't be able to have children, and then she adopted my older brother, and then she had 2 more, like boom, boom. My younger brother and myself were like a year and 11 days apart, and so.
That's what happened with my parents too.
You really never know. And the interesting thing for us is my younger brother and myself both became preachers. So God, not only does God have a plan that we never know about, but He also has a sense of humor.
Yep.
So anyway, but back to the story. So that's cool. I can't believe that I've known y'all this time. I did not know this. Well, you didn't know it about me either.
No.
But it's such a cool thing. But I remember Ryan specifically coming to me and saying, "Hey, we really want this," and I saw it in his eyes, and it's probably the first time we teared up together when we were having this conversation, because it was such a big decision for you guys, and I was like, "Man, let's do it. God's gonna do this, God," and I had such confidence, And
I remember he told me he was going to tell everyone in staff meeting that Monday, and when you said, "All right, Ryan, you got the floor." And he said, "I just want everyone to know we're going to be adopting a baby." And today just goes, "Oh, I thought you were going to say you were quitting." Yeah,
half of them thought he's quitting. I'm like, no. We wouldn't be giving him the floor for that. We'd be on the floor wrestling over that. No, seriously. But that was a kind of a beautiful day for our staff, because we're such a family, on our staff, that everybody got all excited. And we started that day, honestly. We prayed for you guys that day.
Yeah, I remember every time in staff meeting, because I could always see your paper from where you sit. It was always Ryan and Maddie right there, the adoption with the baby. And so I guess to further the story, we started the entire journey. And so we went with Lifeline Agency. So we went through like an agency and essentially went through that entire process. They scraped through our entire life.
Yes.
And it was a pretty grueling.
No secrets.
No. And had a bunch of meetings with social workers and everything. Had to go to Alabama for a while to a conference, and then got put on the list. And then, I mean, from there on, it was a roller coaster.
Because they tell you when you get put on the list. So it took 6 months to even get to that point on the list. Then once you get on the list, they tell you prep for 2 to 3 years. Yeah. So we were like, this was September 5th we got on the list. And we're like, okay, so September of 2027, we might be starting looking at, people might be picking us.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit discouraging, but we so when we started the process and they said, you're going to be on the list for 2 to 3 years, they made our profile of us and our life. And then moms who are thinking about adoption make their own profile. If the agency feels like we would match, they send us her profile. We review it and say yes or no. If we say yes, it gets sent back to the agency, and then they decide from all the people that said yes, the most appropriate families, and they send them to the mother, and she would pick somebody out of that. So we were preparing for 2 to 3 years that it would take to get picked by somebody, and it was very discouraging because we got profiles, and at that point we had got 8. And we had only been shown to one person.
Wow.
So we felt like, gosh, we're not even getting a chance to get picked because she's not even seeing ours, because they choose the families that have been on the list longest to get seen first. So we were not anticipating we would get picked. We didn't know we got shown. They hadn't let us know that we got shown, so we didn't know. And then we found out we got shown, and then we didn't hear anything. So we had a little flicker of hope that, like, maybe they're getting their ducks in a row to call us. And I remember being at work one day, and our social worker is in a group chat with both of us, and texted and said, do you guys have a minute to talk? And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I call Ryan, and he didn't answer. So I'm like, I'm going to call him until he answers, because he needs to get on this phone. And so on the second call, he answered, and he said, let me call you right back. I'm in the shower. I'm like, no. Michaela wants to talk to us. And he's like, shut up. And so then,
he meant that in a nice way.
Yes. In a nice way. Yes, in a nice way.
And so then we got on the phone.
Yep.
And told us we got picked.
Yep.
And the miracle and all that was December 5th. So we'd only been on the list 3 months and got picked, which is very fast for how long people normally are on. So it's just kind of a blessing, because we'd already been on this journey for so long of trying, and then the infertility, and then starting this adoption process. And so to be picked that quickly, it was a blessing.
Mm-hmm. And it was a roller coaster from there, because Maya was due, March 22nd?
March 10th.
March 10th. And Maya was born January 11th.
Yeah, she was early. Yes.
Early. And so, we headed out across the country.
And when he means headed out, it was like headed out like that day, pretty much. He calls me and says, hey, we got picked in, or Maya was born, and she was not from this state. And so Ryan said, we got to go. And I went, bye, be good, be careful. We'll take care of it. We'll do whatever we got to do. Because by then, our staff, I was so personally, committed to the process that it was like, my grandchild's being born. They got to leave, like whatever. And so they literally spent months, wasn't it? Like,
we spent 6 weeks?
6 weeks
Yep.
there.
So we left immediately. I remember when we got the call, and we was after church on a Sunday, and Maddie goes, Maya was born this morning, and we were supposed to go over to eat at her mom's house or something like that for her birthday. And I just remember walking in, we're like, Maya was born, and we're like, see ya, and like booked a ticket and was in the state by 10 o'clock that night.
It was 1 o'clock when we found out, and we were on a plane by 5.
That's crazy.
It worked very fast. Had a lot of people helping us, though.
Oh my gosh, yes.
A lot of people helping us.
So just our church community just everybody. Like
Yeah,
I literally,
stepped up for sure.
yeah, I left. I knew I was going to have to work out there, obviously
Right.
by
Yeah.
and I left like some of my memory cards here, and I was like, oh, I don't have time to go back because we have to go pack all of our stuff. We got to pack for what could potentially be 6 weeks in a different state away from home worth of stuff for a baby on top of both of our
'Cause
clothes.
when we went, we didn't know
And-
how long we were going to
yeah.
be there.
Right.
And-
We knew she was born early, but like we don't know.
I literally called one of our friends that go to church here and was like, hey, this might seem small. I know you're probably near the church, but I need you to bring these to my house because I'm going to be on a plane very
Like a
quickly.
couple hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
And so,
And they were there before he got there on our way home from our mom's house. They
Yeah.
were there that
Yeah.
fast.
That's crazy. There were so many other things, like I said, we were all invested, but we were also invested in the emotional side of it. Like y'all's ups and downs. Like we were watching those from our seat, and anytime that Ryan would get a little discouraged, he would come to me personally and say, "All right, Maddie's tired. I can feel it. Let's pray." And we would pray, and then I felt like the Lord was so faithful, and that every single time one of y'all was up, one of y'all had hope, one of y'all was walking in faith,
Yeah.
even when it was like that. And very rarely did I see both of y'all like in this desperate place, but just the process of getting to the part where you were gonna choosing to adopt, and then the process of waiting. When's this ever gonna happen? I watched y'all, but also watched a faithfulness in you too that really inspired my heart. That there wasn't very many times in those months, or literally in a 3-year journey of getting to here, where Ryan and I had to talk. Most times it was we prayed about it every Monday together as a staff, and most of the time it was just like the next hopeful thing.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that because that's hard, to walk in that.
it really, I guess it did increase my faith because it was to a place where it was like, all right, I don't have control anymore.
Yeah.
Like I have no control. Like
Yeah.
trust in what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And just our journey across the country and everything that worked out, the way it worked out. I mean, we stayed out there for free.
Yeah.
Tell me how crazy that is.
Yeah.
How you would ever.
That's a whole other blessing, you could tell them about,
And it was just everything fell in order to where it needed to go and be. And
I think that's why it's important to have such a good, firm foundation in your faith, because, there were a lot of times that we could have got mad at God. And I think we were mad, but I don't know that we were mad at God. We were just like frustrated with our situation that everyone else can have a baby so easily.
Yeah.
And we are having to go to
And
the
some people don't
extreme.
even appreciate that privilege,
Yeah. I remember stepping into your office and telling you that. And I mean, literally crying in your office. And you go, you can be mad for 1 week. And you go, you got 1 week to be mad. And he goes, after that, you can't be mad anymore. I remember that distinctly. And you're just like, it's all going to be good. It's all going to be good. Like God's going to take care of you.
I remember that too. And then we were
Yeah.
griping about it the next week. And he's like, no, the week's over.
Yeah. You only got 7 days, okay?
And, because like you said, when one of us was up, we could kind of help each other out because we knew what the truth was. We knew it was going to work out how it was supposed to work out, whether that be baby or no baby. We
Right.
knew that whatever happened was going to be God's will.
Right.
And it helped to be able to lean on each other and have the other person kind of speak that into
Yeah.
you when you were doubting things or questioning things.
And it's like, even when we talk about like God's will and what we wanted isn't always what he wanted. Obviously we didn't start with adoption, which there's, like I said, there's nothing wrong, obviously, because we did it. But like, I didn't think that it would be very, very difficult for us to have kids. And then on top of that, we're sitting there having to trust that Maya's birth mom is like, we're flying across the country.
Yeah.
She could still say,
Nope.
yeah, I
right.
want a parent. And
Yeah.
so like, it really was, there was multiple nights that we had talked, and she's just like, she's the more worrisome one, if you can't tell.
Yeah.
She's the more worrisome one. And she would just be like, what if? It's all the what ifs. And I'm like, Maddie, I was like, even if she does, then that was just like, it was something that was so out of our control that we've discussed it about her birth mom taking her back, and like how we would process that and how we would do like everything. And I said, we just have to trust in God. I said, that's the only thing that we can do. I said, or we're going to fall apart.
Yeah, it'll drive you crazy.
You're right. It would.
Yeah.
But I remember when we prayed about that, I felt very specifically like whenever we would pray for Maya, like a year ago, it was like very matter of factly, I felt in my spirit, my hearts, and I don't consider myself a prophet or anything like that, but I felt immediately, even when I prayed for y'all, God's preparing this child already. Like you're going to get one, and I was so confident, even when y'all went, that nobody's changing their mind, and I know it wasn't me out there, but I just felt like she was yours already, and
yeah, and the way things kind of lined up, because we felt like for a long time we weren't hearing anything from God, and we were just kind of like aimlessly waiting and getting these profiles and not getting shown, and we just felt like it was just getting more and more discouraging as time went on. And then we got picked on December 5th, and like 2 days later, I had been applying for grants and stuff and hadn't heard anything, and then which is its own worry, because you never know when you're going to get picked, and you have to have the money
also
right
for
then.
everybody listening, adoption is expensive.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's
very expensive. So we thank God for grants and people's generosity that has helped us more than
even talking about that, on top of that, just like our church community, like the importance behind that, like people we didn't even know.
Yep.
We would just get
got anonymous money in the mail.
Money in the mail, and it was
people that don't even know us, that know somebody who knows us, heard about it and would give
and so
money.
all of these things, just started to pile up, and it just seemed like it was God's will for us to have Maya.
Amazing. Because it's not like we talked about it you don't go up on the stage every Sunday and announce, Ryan and Maddie are trying to adopt a kid,
I don't think we said anything.
We really didn't. It became
not until we left.
Pretty common knowledge, I guess, among just in our casual conversations, I guess, especially with the staff people. And you guys were in small groups, both of you were, and that I just think that word of mouth and people just got moved. God just moved in their hearts to be generous, and which is beautiful. That's the point of the body, right?
Yeah, exactly.
To be there for each other, and then I know in hindsight, when you were there with her, the people, specifically we talked about some girls in our church that in your small group that carried you with prayer, just carried you, and if you want to give Megan a shout out or whatever, because I know she'll be happy.
Oh my gosh, she'll love that. She'll love that. She was a rock though, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
That would be Megan. Yeah.
It's Megan Dills for the people that
Megan
don't know.
Dills. I still call her Megan. In my phone, I have Meg Wallace. So she was Megan was in my class. Not that we're going to do a whole podcast about Megan. But she was in my class when I taught school, and so when I became the preacher here, the next week I looked at her and she was here, kind of pretty much, and she's so faithful. She's what I call the quiet resolve, like she just kind of keeps doing that thing. And there's a couple people like that in your life, obviously, but she was faithful to make sure that Maddie was covered and that everybody knew what to pray and how to pray. And Ryan was doing a great job, just even if it was just a text, pray for this, and then the staff
it made so much of a difference, because we're in this tiny little place in a state we don't know. Yeah. Nothing's familiar.
We don't know anybody.
We don't know anyone. We're at the hospital all day with Maya. And just like that, like I would get texts from the guys in my small group, just like, hey, praying, hoping Maya's okay. Yeah. And like that.
She was in like NICU, right? Like
she was in NICU for 5 weeks.
5 weeks, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was hard for us too, because we're first-time parents. We obviously don't know what we're doing. And then to have such a fragile baby kind of added a
different aspect.
Yes, a heavier aspect to it. And we're with nobody we know. We're in an area we don't know, in a house we don't know, don't even have our car. And we kind of just had each other. And it was a lot of prayer, a lot of people covering us in prayer and covering Maya in prayer. Yeah. And I do think it was maybe didn't see it in the moment, but I think like now that it's over, we're kind of looking back like that was we were leaning on our faith a lot, leaning on God a lot in that time, because it was a lot of unknown, leaning on a lot of our church family. We had Grace and Chris. One night we just called them and cried and cried and cried and asked them like, how do you do this? And they're like, you don't, you just cry. And
we don't have to do it either. Yeah,
but just leaning on a lot of our good friends in our Bible study group, really gave us a lot of encouragement. So it's a growing time for sure.
Well, that was a part that probably, like I got this, I don't know where I picked up this sentence years ago. It's like a phrase, because I'm forever like using little phrases, but it was like in the moments of real chaos, your faith isn't like built as much as it is revealed. And so God had taken you guys. I watched it happen before my very eyes. When you got here, and Maddie was very shy at first, like when I first met her, and really didn't even really know many people here. Maybe a couple people you went to high school with or whatever. Yeah. But both of y'all did exactly the right thing. You surrounded yourself with a community of believers, not just church on Sundays or Wednesdays, but like small group, like accountability, people that were studying the Word with you, people that were praying with you, that prepared you for this moment. You don't know that's what God's preparing you for, but now you do.
And they gave you a good sounding board too. Like I know, there was times I would text Megan, what if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? I was so worried about everything, and she was like, give me the truth that it was not. You don't always want to hear it, but she'd be like, God's going to work out his will however that looks. Yeah. Whether it be you going home with her or not going home with her, it's going to be God's will. And we knew that was the truth. Yeah. And it's hard to hear sometimes.
Whether you like it or not.
Right. But it's important that you surround people like that so they can remind you of those things when you are going through hard times and you're not always being the most logical person.
Because high emotional spaces aren't really good logical spaces in general. Yeah. But I was grateful, in hindsight as the pastor to find out later, because a lot of it was later, how everybody was ministering to you guys, and how faithful our people were being to you was like a blessing to me, because I thought, man, this is what church is supposed to look like. It's not supposed to be a bunch of scattered individuals. It's a community of faith, and that's beautiful. But y'all played a role in that too, and I watched your love for each other, and your the way you protected one another was huge to me, and I obviously got to see that more from Ryan's perspective, because I see him every day, and how much he wanted you protected in this was just dang cool to me, and I appreciate it, and I was proud of him for it,
Yeah, and even, I guess, just one other thing that I guess we kind of saw, like, in a way that, like, God moved there in an unexpected way that we weren't expecting, was obviously we were in the hospital every single day.
Every day.
And we got to have, like, chances that, like, came out of nowhere to, like, share the gospel with, like, all these nurses that we see all the time. And on top of that, with the birth mom, I mean, we had some really awesome moments with her that when obviously it'd be very hard for her. Yeah. And so we wanted to be able to comfort her and everything. And we got to pray over her in those vulnerable moments and like show her comfort and hopefully increase her faith. And
well, she was definitely walking in some faith.
Yeah.
You think about that. Cause, she felt, I believe, led of the Lord that this was right for her personally, but she had to have a confidence that God was going to place this baby that, even though she was given this baby, trusting you guys with this baby, she loved it. I'm telling you, she did. She carried it for 8 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
giving 7 months.
We're strangers to her.
Yeah.
And trusting us.
Yep.
On little knowledge of us, it takes a leap of faith.
Yeah, it does. For sure. That's pretty cool. So the whole story, even though it had a lot of ebbs and flows to it and ups and downs, just again to watch you guys in your faithfulness toward the Lord and to see the people surround you, the outcome looking back is like, wow, that was cool, but walking through it from this way going forward was an amazing story of faith for me to watch. And so I know that there's probably people out there, that are watching today that are maybe in exactly that position you were in, like I've met in ministry over the years plenty of families that couldn't have kids. Some of them pursued adoption, some of them did not, but maybe speak to them about, how do you have hope when from an earthly perspective it looks hopeless, like you have to ask yourself a million times, like, why can't we have a kid? And that's when I gave you that week, I remember, but it's still real. That's real. Like, you got people out here having kids left and right that don't care if they have kids. And then here we want one, God.
Yeah.
How do you stay faithfully focused, faithfully hopeful? And how do you keep putting one foot in front of the other in those high emotional moments, like that are heart wrenching, honestly, a lot of ways.
I remember days right after we got like the test results and everything. And like, I was like mad.
Yeah.
I was like,
what's wrong with me?
What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm somewhat fit. I'm healthy. Like,
right. Yeah, he runs like marathons and junk, like.
You've never heard it before, Ryan.
If you've never heard it before, ran some marathons.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, that was all the questions that was running through my head. And I was just like,
what did I do wrong?
What did I do wrong?
Yeah.
I've taken care of myself. Like, this shouldn't be the way it's supposed to be. And then like slowly through the process, especially after getting Maya, I'm like, that's why.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's because of her. And like, it was not meant for us
to
have to do it like that right now. And so,
yeah.
And it is hard too to struggle, like when we were in the unknown and not knowing why we couldn't have a kid and everyone else can have one so easily, it seems, because the Bible says the Lord will give you the desires of your heart.
Yeah.
And so it felt like, what are we doing wrong that we're not getting what we desire? And the devil, I think, attacked us a lot with that.
Yeah.
But we just had to keep telling ourselves that his will be done, whether that be what our desire is or not.
Right.
His will's going to be done. That's like my mantra I had to keep telling myself, because you could drive yourself crazy with the worry and crazy
I'm
with
a damaged person,
and thinking like, what did I do to deserve this? And that's not the way the Lord works. And it was just waiting for our time. And we know now, looking back, that it took so long because she hadn't been conceived yet. But then the ball started rolling once she was, because, like Ryan said, this was all waiting because she was supposed to come to our family.
Yeah.
and I mean, honestly, like in those times of attack too, it was like just like me confiding in like prayer. Like I'm a notorious love to listen to podcasts. And so every time I come to work, I'm listening to a podcast. And there would be days where like I was either like just feeling down, or like the devil was getting at me, like, you're not good enough. This is why this person had a kid, blah, blah, blah. You can't, everything. And I would just car on silent, just drive to work, just praying the entire time, just being like, I need help.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like this. And I just think like standing on a foundation of that it's required. And when you say about those high emotional moments, like it kind of like, if you're up here, it kind of brings you back down level a little bit. Like, okay, I'm not in the turbulence anymore. I'm kind of like, I'm soaring a little bit.
Yeah. And I think that does, like, it's just a testament to the power of prayer. I know we all know how important it is, but when Ryan was going through this and he was so down on himself, I would constantly tell him, I still love you. We'll just move on. And he was trying to just like speak life into him, but I couldn't give that to him. All I could really do was just pray for him.
Yeah.
And it took a while for him to kind of come back and come back to himself, because it was a hard couple of months, but I could see him kind of working through that, and the Lord was like answering our prayers, because I know he was praying about it too. So if he was ever down and I'm just like, did you pray about it today? Because I ultimately knew like I couldn't say anything that was going to fix his situation.
That's right.
Yeah.
It was going to have to be like the Lord healing his heart in that.
But at the same time, you guys married exactly the right person. Like both of you. Like, because the oneness that I've watched y'all grow into in these last 4 years has been like just amazing and beautiful. You know, it wasn't it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault. It became like we're going to do this. This is our journey. God didn't make a mistake with us being married. We're one, and you did it together. You know, and that's from my perspective. You know, if I'm giving a testimony about your life, that's the best part. You know, is that y'all's love for each other didn't splinter in the middle of this. It grew like more cohesive, and that's a win. You know, that's a God win, and so thank you for one. You know, like, and I know that started before this, but just the friendship that I've been able to have with you guys, you know, has been like amazing, and letting me in on the journey of just trusting me like early on and say, will you pray for this? Will you pray for this? And then and Ryan regularly keep me in the loop, you know, like what's going on. And then those 927 letters of reference I had to write for you guys.
Thank you to everybody who had to write a letter.
Thank you for everybody. By the way, besides it being expensive, there's a lot of letters of recommendation that are required.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah, but it was. I remember writing the first one. I still have it on my computer. You know, like my job was to tell these strangers what kind of humans you were, you know, and I started thinking about all the little things that y'all were faithful in where God was concerned, and how all those little things together made you guys like perfect candidates to be parents, and it made me proud to write it. It was like it was easy. Literally, I wrote y'all's the very first letter I wrote to total strangers about your life. I wrote the whole letter in like 6 minutes. It was just because it was so. I didn't have to make up. I didn't make up any stories about them. It's like I just told my heart, you know, what I had watched in their development and most of that development had little to do with whether you're going to be a parent or not. It was just who you were in Christ, you know, but the culmination of all that information and all of that growth made you great candidates to be parents, you know, and so it was amazing. And so if you're praying about it, thinking about it, first off, let us know if you're praying about it, you know.
Yeah.
One of the hardest parts for Ryan, I remember this to begin with, was shame. I remember him thinking something's wrong with me. And I refused to let him have that, you know, because I knew God had a plan. And the fact that y'all are sitting here talking about this right now is way more than they will ever know is a big deal, because it was so hard to verbalize it to begin with. Yeah. That part where, you know, I remember he literally burst into tears. We can't have a kid, or it's going to be very difficult for us to have a child. And I immediately said, well, stop. We're going to do this. We got this. You know, God's got this. And but y'all went from that to sitting in front of a camera telling everybody in the world, not just your story, but God's story, and Maya's story. And don't worry, we are going to let you see sweet girl in a minute.
You will see Maya. Yeah. I guess, I mean, the reason that, so if you guys haven't seen, go watch Mother's Day video. She was on stage, and she was talking about this process, but we wanted to do this to have it a little bit more in depth about just showing what God did to the entire thing. But she's a shy person, and I was very proud of her to be on stage.
Yes,
but
it only took me 3 phone calls to get her on the stage because I knew.
Yeah.
But just so you know, and I'm gonna let Ryan finish. Is this year at Mother's Day, I picked 6 moms from all different aspects of life. You know, one who had adopted a child, one who had lost a child but has another child, and then all the way up to a sweet lady in our church that has 5 kids and a ton of grandchildren. And it was just like we got all these perspectives. And out of that group of people, there were a couple people I refused to tell me, let them tell me no.
She was one of them.
Maddie was one of them. She was like, no, I'm not doing this. Her first response was, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
then
Yeah,
it be-
Ryan's like, have you told him yes yet? And I'm like, no, I'm going to say no. He's like, you got to tell him. I'm not telling him.
So I started really putting the pressure on her and speaking life into her as well. And she finally told me yes about 2 weeks before we had her scheduled to go on stage.
Yeah.
And she did an amazing job. So if you want to go back and watch an amazing video of our Mother's Day service this year, she's one of the girls on stage, one of our moms on stage. And so that's what Ryan was.
But I was pushing, like, wanting her to do it because I said, like, when we were going through this, I said, nobody talks about the hardship because it is hard. And, like, at the time, I did feel shame. But I was like, who knows? I said, we didn't have anyone to talk to except her parents who had adopted
Yeah.
2 kids. But it looks obviously way different
It
than
was
it
30 years ago.
30 years
everything-
ago.
Oh, yeah,
than
my
it-
brother's situation
than it
was
does
completely
now.
different,
Yeah.
And so I was like,
We
if
had
you're
nobody to give us
Yeah.
advice.
I was like, the way you could share Maya's story up there and the way that God transferred everything. And I was like, the people that don't say it or won't verbalize it or are going through that struggle typically aren't going to say anything. And I said, you could be a sounding board for them and kind of
And
speak
hope.
life and hope
Yeah.
into that entire thing. And I mean, I hope this does it as well.
It would
I'm
be
hoping.
interesting to know the statistics of people who are struggling but don't say anything
Mhm.
because
We actually found out a lot when we got our unfavorable test results. I'm a researcher to
Yeah.
my core.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was researching like crazy, and one of the things I was researching was just the infertility numbers and like how common that really is in men. And it's actually in the population of couples that struggle with infertility, men's infertility is 50% of the cause.
Wow.
So a lot of people think it's if a couple's going through infertility, it's the woman.
Yeah.
Because women are the only ones that talk about it. Men feel so much shame behind it that they don't want to talk about
Yeah.
it to anybody. So we did talk about this many times, as hard as it is to talk about. Maybe it'll help one person, and that was more than we had to bounce ideas off of and thoughts off of, and it hopefully can help somebody else that needs it.
Yeah. But
Oh,
just in the end,
it
out
will.
of all of the uncertainty, everything like that, like God's glory was in the entire thing, the
Yeah.
entire journey, the entire
Yeah.
process. And
When the dominoes started to fall after we got picked in December, like I was saying, 2 days later we got picked for a grant. A week after that we got picked for another grant. Of course, the blessings from people kept coming. People mailing us stuff, Venmoing us money, doing fundraisers for us. Like the blessings just kept coming in, and it was like dominoes. And just the way it worked out when we went out there, we didn't know how long we were going to have to stay out there. So the person that we rented the Airbnb from actually was a supervisor at the agency.
Wow.
That our worker talked to another worker, and it was her supervisor. And she's like, I'll give you the Airbnb for free. Stay there as long as you need. And then, so that was a huge burden lifted. And then we, had to rent a rental car for a long time. And one of my friends, when we were about to go to the airport, she was like, I booked your car for 2 weeks and, just paid for it and just to help us out. Like the blessings just kept coming. So for a while we felt like we were getting nothing from God. And then the way the dominoes kept falling, we were just like, we can't even deny it anymore. So it grew our faith in being
Yeah,
able to
true.
keep her
Yeah.
Yeah.
a lot more. And so then when the devil would attack us, like when we were in the hospital, what if her mom changes her mind, and what if this doesn't work out? What if we don't get to keep her? Because we were attached as soon as we saw her, and we
22
would just
seconds later.
we would just tell, like, if one of us was struggling, we just tell the other person, like, look how God's lined everything up. You can't even deny that this is how He's working it
Right.
out. You
Yeah.
can't even deny it. So we just kept the faith, and
yeah.
it did work out.
God did it.
Yeah.
He did it.
That's right.
That's what we're gonna need to. We need to name this podcast. God did it.
That's what we do. That's a good one.
That's
I
what I'm
like
saying,
that.
because God did it, and so to prove to you that God did it,
All right, but we got to go get this.
we're gonna go get baby girl and bring her in here and let you see her.
Hi, Peanut.
I don't know if the camera can see her. This is Maya.
So this is the moment of our great reveal.
Yeah.
It's our sweet girl Maya. She's proof that God did it, and she's such a content, happy little baby. And so they were talking about right till I say that, then maybe she wants her mom, but and this is what she looks like every time you see her in public. She's beautifully adorned, and she has a bow in her hair for her mommy.
What's the matter?
So
Yeah, she's a real blessing.
and she might be hungry, so we're not gonna keep her on camera long. But we wanted you to see.
We got to
her.
get a good shot where she's not crying.
Yeah.
Should we go ahead and end it?
We can. So anyway, that's proof that God did it. And hey, and so listen, if we can join any of you guys out there that are watching this in prayer for something on your journey, and it doesn't have to be adoption; it could be anything. Man, reach out to us. We would love. And I know Ryan's going to put something on there where you can reach out back to us. There's a number of ways to watch this. Share it with your friends that maybe you know are struggling, because it's an incredible privilege for us to do stuff like this. And I just appreciate you guys coming on here today, and appreciate everything. This podcast and stuff was Ryan's idea 6-7 years ago, and whoever thought we would be on here today telling this story about the faithfulness of God and their faithfulness and their faith. So there's our pretty girl, and we're glad you got to see her today. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.